Welcome to a new episode of the Rectified podcast. Today, my guest is not a brand founder, but instead a CMO of a D2C brand, and the brand is Podium Nutrition. Dylan Jones, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here.
Dylan, you're the CMO of Podium Nutrition, which means that this episode will be more about marketing than talking about a founder story.
Yep.
So let's dive directly into the marketing world. The other day, I posted something on Threads. I said a marketing strategy is not posting on social media. And then I got a bunch of likes and comments and stuff like that. But then there was someone who's like, what is a marketing strategy? Like in the mind of everybody, for that marketing equals social media. And when we talk about strategy, it's about what we're going to post on social media. What is your, like, where do you stand on this?
Yes, that is a great question. Asking marketing strategy is kind of like asking someone's religion sometimes. You're going to get a wide variety of answers and very
Yes.
passionate answers too.
Yeah.
Um, I it depends. So first of all, it depends on niche. That's like the first place my brain goes is like, what are we selling? Before we talk about strategy, what's the whole context? What's the product? Is the product, am I managing an athlete? And that's the product, is them as a producer of content or media. Or is it a SaaS company? Are we B2B
Yeah.
services? In my case, it's D2C. So I'll say like I've marketed in all of those verticals, but currently I'm in the D2C and retail spaces. And so for us, we have a standard tool belt that most brands use. I think it just depends on how you use them. So social media is part of that marketing strategy. But I like to say that we are a digital first, digitally led company, even in our
Mm-hmm.
retail, even in our brick and mortar efforts. So we rely heavily on ways to capture data. So I think instead of saying for marketing strategies, here's my 8 buckets that we always need to kind of put stuff into, that's social media, that's email,
Yeah.
those things always exist as tools, but they're tools. I think you need to figure out your why before you build a strategy with all the available tools. So you're not just kind
Mm.
of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. My why is always going to be, for Podium in particular at this stage of growth, is how fast can I capture first party data?
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately every marketer's main KPI is revenue. No matter
Yeah.
what anyone says, even if
Yeah.
it's social growth or YouTube subscribers, why? Well, because you want them to eventually purchase, or at least create enough momentum to where your purchasing audience sees that. Instead, everybody's main KPI is revenue, and so
Yeah.
I look towards like what's the main thesis of that brand, like what's the main need of that brand right now. And so for Podium, it's capture of data. So a lot of our marketing strategy is centered around capturing that first party data in a way that's engaging. So when we use social media for that, it can look like a giveaway, but it's a little different. We partner with other brands. We try to do collaborative
Mm.
posts and data share. A lot of campaigns are centered around our loyalty program. So I could dive really deep into that, but I think
Yeah.
like the quickest answer for like what's a good marketing strategy is, before you build the strategy, figure out what is the main avenue you want to go down to get your revenue. And for us, it's
Yeah.
data.
Yeah. Well, that's the strategy.
Yeah.
It's not before starting the marketing strategy. For me, the way I see it is you decide all of these things, your why, who you are, who do you want to sell to, etc. And then social media and email and all of these things are just a way to communicate with
Yeah.
these people and show what you worked on in behind the scenes, and then talk to them about it. Like back in the days, they used to do magazine ads. Well, they still do, but it's not that much. Magazine ads and TV ads and radio ads and all of these things. It's just that the tools have changed, but the concepts are still the same. And that's why I always like talk about it on social media, and I get all these comments and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, because for everybody is like marketing equals social media. And then it's not just that, there's like so much more to it, and I can see it clearly with Podium Nutrition. I talk to a lot of D2C brands, brand founders. I work with them, and usually when I go to their website, to their social media, like what we see on the outside, their packaging, their branding, etc., you kind of don't understand. But with you guys, the minute I went and checked everything that you have,
Mhm.
I immediately understood like what's going on, and it shows like how much work and effort you put behind the scenes. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, a lot of work goes into creating. I kind of call them. I've started internally branding this as like a global end cap, right? So a lot of
Yeah.
when you're a young brand, I'll say a young brand is anything younger than 20 years, and that's even still
Mm.
pretty young.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
especially in our vertical in sports nutrition, we're going head to head with brands that have, like we're talking like Procter and Gamble and stuff. And sometimes like
Yeah.
it's like these are household things that we're fighting against that have massive market penetration. So for us, when I talk about global NCAP, it's when anyone goes to our Instagram feed, it should always feel curated. And kudos to our founder, Paul Haberland. He was big on feed cohesion and like color theory. He's a big fan of like the Pantone. If you follow on
Yeah.
Instagram, Pantones,
It
like he likes the
shows.
way, yeah, he
It
likes the
shows.
way that the grid plays. And frankly, I don't think a lot of it's making your feed constantly cohesive is kind of like having a really nice, clean garage. That's your house guests aren't going to go in your garage during a party, but should
Yeah.
you ever need to go to the garage and it looks that nice, they're going to be impressed, right? And so most
Mm.
browsers on social media aren't always going to go to the feed and then judge a brand by the feed and how cohesive it is. Because I think a lot of consumers now
Yeah.
have just been trained to be like, okay, I want each post, or I just want to look at this reel, or what are their other reels look like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For us, though, kudos to him for just emphasizing and laying that down on me, like, hey, feed's really important. So now, yeah, that is one of my core like metrics is like, how are we looking there as an end cap? Like we do a lot with tiles and making sure that we're telling a story, and when we do a drop, we make sure that everything is organized. So not only from that level of intentionality on social media, but down to our content and the way we shoot it, I'm very hands-on with even just down to like the minutia of what second a hook ends in a reel and we start a new scene. All of that stuff is the more intentional you are, the more you do
Yeah.
things on purpose, the more accountable you are, and the better
Mm.
the end result will be. And I think it's scary for a lot of marketing leaders. You know, a lot of my peers rely so heavily on agencies, and
Yeah.
agencies are great if you know how to manage an agency correctly. But again, they're just another tool in your tool belt. I think a lot of my peers rely on agencies because they're scared to be accountable to their own work. And it's
Mm.
easier to, I think, put the blame and the pressure on an agency than it is to go internally and go, wait a second, like I need to own this. Let's figure it out. And so I put that onus on me and the leaders that I'm raising up within Podium to go, hey, everything we post, it's funny, like it sounds cliche, but I honestly say it a lot is when I have one of our junior employees or someone start to practice posting in our stories just to see how they
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
If it looks bad, I'll just ask them, like, hey, like first of all, let's take this down and I'll explain why. Second of all, would Nike post this? And it sounds ridiculous because we're
Mm.
not Nike. We don't have their budget. I'm like, I didn't ask that. Would Nike, if they were in our shoes,
Yeah.
and would that marketing leader post what you just posted? If the answer is no, then we should take it down. And I think like that sounds a little scary and
Mm.
intimidating, but it holds you to a level of accountability of a globally present brand with major household
Yeah.
penetration. If you say, hey, that's my bar, it doesn't matter what your budget is. It doesn't, your level of intentionality will show to your
Mm.
consumers. So when you come to check out our feed and then you go to our website and everything is synced up and then you're subscribed to emails and
Exactly.
it's all matching and it's all very on purpose, even if our frequency is a little lower than what I'd like it to be as far as iterations,
Yeah.
we're still doing things on purpose. And I think that's why Podium's winning right now is consumers
Mm.
get it. They can count on us. We're reliable to deliver an
Mm.
experience.
How important is it for brands? Like, there's a lot of people who start from scratch. They're bootstrapping their companies. They don't have really the funds, or they're not marketers. But how important is it for them to really think about what their brand is about,
Mm.
and how to position it in the market. Maybe they don't know these words, but
Yep.
like how they want to be seen in the market, and how their why, like you just said, how
Yeah.
important is that?
Extremely. But I say that with a little bit of a grain of salt. When you're a baby brand, your greatest arbitrage, like your greatest tool that you
Hmm.
have to be different and disruptive, is a global brand's worst nightmare. Meaning, a global brand.
Yeah.
Let's use like a household product, like Colgate. I was just watching an interview of someone talking about from a leader at Colgate. If Colgate wanted to launch a campaign and they
Hmm.
had 2 weeks to do it, it just wouldn't happen. They can't.
Yeah.
They have all the resources in the world. They have the best talent in the world. They have a massive budget. They could shoot, but it's got to go through legal. It's got to go through
Yeah.
compliance at least 4 times. HR has to
Yeah.
sign off on it. This person, oh, the PTO, and oh, like what about this? And it's just going to take at least 6 months for them to put
Hmm.
together. But when it launches, oh, it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
A small brand, while they won't have that level of quality, you don't have Colgate's budget.
Mm.
That's your biggest weapon. Is you can go, okay, fine. Paul, again, our founder, kudos to him. He's coined this phrase that I love and I'm going to steal for the rest of my life, called shots on goal. And if you watch like hockey or you watch soccer or anything, like it, the more volume you create on that goalie, the
Yeah.
more pressure, eventually something's going to get through. And
Yeah.
so the faster you can iterate, even if the quality, if you have a top threshold of Nike, but you have a bottom threshold of like, this is realistically what people expect of a brand our age, and it's still above the bar, like great. Reps,
Mm.
reps, reps.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the biggest weapon that I think a small, scrappy startup has is how quickly you can get content and test it. Do not be as scared as a Colgate is. Colgate's terrified because if they have one bad campaign,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, it's
They're
detrimental.
canceled.
It's
Yeah.
so bad. Yeah, they're canceled. They like their loss is so much more intense than what your loss is at a lower
Yeah.
level as a small startup. And so as you grow in maturity, the question you hit on is how important is it to have like your why? That as you grow in maturity as a brand becomes much more important
Yeah.
as you grow. So day one, no one really cares about your why. It is about product positioning, right? Unless you're
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
your whole position is like, for every dollar we make, we donate to a forest, and fine. But I think people are
Yeah.
burned out on that.
Yes.
What matters first is product market fit, right? And
Mm.
as you build a
Mm.
customer, though, people want to care more about why. Why am I buying Podium? And we
Yeah.
just had this meeting last week, so we're taking time out in December to have a workshop with a writing team that I hired, to sit down and actually write what is Podium's thesis? What do we live by?
Yeah.
If our brand is a person, what do we stand for and how do we talk? What is our sense of humor? What is our if we're upset, if we're happy, if we're
Yeah.
content, if we're sad?
Your
How do
your
we
brand's your brand's personality.
You have to personify it. Not
Yeah.
not to the same degree necessarily as super personable brands, but every
Yeah.
brand has a personality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's typically going to reflect on the largest cohort of purchaser you have, right? And so we're doing a workshop. So to answer your question, when you're young, it doesn't really matter. Shots on goal, get
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
going, make sales,
Exactly.
because who cares about your brand if you're bankrupt, right? But as soon as you
Exactly.
show product market fit, oh my goodness, set money
Yeah.
aside, work with a team of
Exactly.
writers. If that's your skill as a founder, kudos to you. Like start writing and start making that why.
Hmm.
But you need to find what your mantra is very quickly
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
live and die by that.
Hmm. That's exactly where I jump in. Actually, once they're like making some money and they have like product market fit, I'm like, we need to work on the brand. Now is the right time.
100%.
Um, you guys work in an industry that's super saturated. Like, there's so many people, but making the same product, but yours is like different. Like, again, my experience, the minute I got into the website, I'm like, oh my God, this is actually different. This is actually cool. Starting with the packaging, which is not a black jar of
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So, how did you position yourself in the different? Like, you went more niche, or you went with different people who are looking for different things? Like, how did you work on that?
Again, man, I'm gonna have to send this podcast to our founder afterwards because Paul, I joined about a year after they launched. So
Okay.
the story of the quick and dirty of Podium is our founder, Paul Haverland, also created Ghost Lifestyle. So
Okay.
that big sports nutrition brand that's out there, the energy drinks, he was the founder of that. He was also part of the original team that launched C4 Energy back in it. So
Okay.
he's been in this game with
Mm,
huge brands for a long time. He saw personally after he left Ghost a need in the CrossFit market that was, the CrossFit scene was underserved. It had brands in it, but nothing
yeah.
was born from CrossFit and dedicated to CrossFit. And so that right there is like a huge, like, oh man, there's this massive growing audience. This sport is growing quickly. These people are a part of a really cool community. They're very fit and
Yeah.
help. This is fun. Let's do it. And so he partnered with Matt Fraser, who won the CrossFit Games 5 times. And then he also partnered with the Buttery Bros, who are very popular content creators in that space. Side note, beautiful blueprint. If you're starting a brand in a competitive space, do it with people who already have recognition in that space. It
Yeah.
helps you get ahead. Um, but the packaging, they spent months developing this. And if you look closely, I'm going to grab a bottle. If you look closely at our packaging, you'll notice that it hails to this kind of it's a very modern retro approach.
Yeah.
And so this is our seasonal way that dropped today, but you'll see like this Olympic ring kind of homage to the Olympics, and then our colorways are built from that old like kind of late 70s mid 80s Olympic ring kind of feel.
Mm,
And so once Podium was landed on and then this Olympic idea was presented, this label came together, and the intentional decision to make the bottle not just very gender like specific was a huge win right out of the gate. A
mm,
lot of brands, like you said, will have a black bottle with like an angry gorilla screaming on
yeah.
it, and it's like max testosterone. Like no one wants to take
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Some people do, but it's not for everybody,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to expand into Gen Pop with that. And then on the other side, you have brands who are like, oh, I'm just going to pink wash everything and then mark it up and we'll
Mm,
call it a women's
mm,
brand. It's like,
yeah.
that's not cool either. And so we have a fully disclosed label, like all the ingredient, there's no proprietary blends. You can see everything that's in there. It tastes phenomenal, and it's very like approachable for each gender. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gender neutral
It
without,
is.
I think there's a way to do gender neutral right and wrong. I really think we hit it out of the park with this, because the wrong kind is like I'm too scared to make a decision. We don't even
Mm,
talk about gender. We just go, hey, we're Podium, we're fun, this is the
yeah.
content, it's a clean product. And so it's really helped. That label decision was probably the best thing that has happened for this brand in marketing and will
Mm,
continue to happen, is just
yeah.
that decision to
It
stick by
really
that
is.
label.
Yeah, it really is. I'm a big sucker for like packaging and like
Yeah,
like I buy stuff because they have a good
of
good
course.
packaging.
Of
This is
course.
this is how I am, and again I'm telling you, the minute I saw it, I'm like, oh, this might be something that I might buy. I don't want to buy the black packaging with the gorilla, like you said,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
don't want to buy the pink stuff because I know it's the same thing with a pink package, and I don't want that. I actually don't advocate for like the whole pink thing,
Yeah.
the anyway. So the minute I saw this, I'm like, okay, this is nice. So I understand where this comes from. So how did you actually, like, regardless of the packaging, you started with the CrossFit, but now is
hmm
it just CrossFit people, or is it it has expanded?
Yeah. So we will always we will always be rooted in the CrossFit community.
Mm-hmm.
We have a special love for that. A lot of our majority of our athletes are CrossFitters, and champions at that.
Yeah.
We will always be in that community. However, CrossFitters, it's interesting. Every CrossFitter also does other types of workouts and fitness, but not
Mm,
every other athletic person does CrossFit. So growing
true.
out of CrossFit is crucial to make sure that one, we're sharing the brand with more people who will enjoy it and like this option. And then two, exposing the world to more of what CrossFit really is. I think that's really important for us as a brand. So we are actively showing the world like, hey, like you might not know it yet, but you're already doing these CrossFit movements. You're already
Yeah.
functionally fit. Every time you do a hit workout, a Tabata movement and stuff like that's very similar to the world of CrossFit. Maybe you're
Mm.
not doing Olympic lifting in it too. Maybe you're not doing it to the level of, that certain workouts within the CrossFit community have, but we are here to be a modern performance lifestyle brand. So if you fit that bill, like just because you're not into CrossFit doesn't mean Podium's not for you. It's funny because sometimes people will, outside of the CrossFit world, when they approach us at we're at an event or show, be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you guys have the CrossFit pre-workout, right?" I'm like, "Wait, hold on. Like
Yeah.
this pre-workout is good for any, like this isn't
Any
just like this
workout.
doesn't make you better at CrossFit. Like
Mm.
there's no powder for that. I wish,
Yeah. Yeah.
but there's not. This is a pre-workout. It helps with CrossFit type of workouts where you need a deep
Mm.
like neurological focus, and we use nootropics for that. That's awesome. But yeah, we are actively showing the world that Podium is a global brand. So when we
Mm.
launched, we started with CrossFit. We will stay in CrossFit, and then our retail partner was exclusively GNC. We're
Yeah.
growing and maturing out of just that being our exclusive retail partner. We
Mm.
love working with GNC,
Yeah.
but there are other markets out there that I think are only going to help like lift all boats. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
when we expand into other major retailers, all that's doing is helping brand awareness for every other retailer. So someone shopping, let's say they're shopping at a Target and they see Podium there, they don't buy their supplements from Target, but maybe they only shop GNC online and they
Yeah.
want to go into a store and now they think Podium. Like it help every
Yeah.
play that we do is going to help lift every partner.
Yeah.
So we're excited to grow out of it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Everything is linked, I feel. There's no one effort that gives one result because something might affect the other. Like you just said, if I see it in Target, I might go and buy it from your website directly or from GNC or from
for
anywhere
sure.
else. So any effort is a good effort. It's funny you said that because I have a friend who bought on sneakers because he saw the founder on CNBC.
Yep.
So so
Yep.
it's not like, like, oh my god, it's trendy, or oh, I'm a runner. No, they just like bought it like that.
That's it.
um are you working with like fitness influencers or going to the influencer space in your marketing?
So we model kind of similar to a Red Bull play where we sign athletes. We
Mm.
don't go after big influencer pools. However, as we expose more of Podium to the general population, that is part of next year's strategy is still handpicking
Yeah.
the influencers we want, but a little bit more geared towards people who aren't just, these freak athletes that we have that are insanely
Mm.
competitive and just shredded. Like that is awesome. That
Yeah.
they're amazing athletes, but not everyone can relate to that all the time. So I think it's a
Mm.
crucial step for us to go down the influencer trail a little bit, but authentically, right? Like
Yeah.
Podium, and this is for any brand, when you're breaking into emerging markets or you're making sure you're storytelling correctly so that your original customer base knows you're still for them and fighting for them and on their side, you have to really make sure that you're, again, intentional with every single decision. So when we're picking these influencers, we're not just going to go, all right, let's get 300 people who have 15,000 followers on TikTok and press
Yeah.
go. Like that's not a strategy.
Mm.
Could that work? Sure. Like gambling at the casino
Yeah.
could work, I
Yeah.
guess, but like you
Yeah.
don't know. There's
You
no
don't know which
guarantee.
one
Yeah.
exactly.
So with us, we're handpicking people that we feel represent Podium's, brand thesis and identity, as well as feel like almost miniature versions of the athletes that we have as our flagship elite level
Mm.
athletes, right?
Mm.
That kind of represent these different personality types. And so we're going to be going down the influencer road, but very carefully, very carefully.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good decision to be more careful about it and to focus on authenticity because nowadays influencers are getting a lot of backlash. There's a lot happening. A lot of people are just like talking about certain products because they're getting paid, all of those things.
Yeah.
So it's important to choose who you want to who you want to pay to talk about your brand, but also even when you choose, you cannot control the results because you don't know what their audiences will do. But you can be as careful as you are, and like one influencer can spread the word like to millions of people. So you never know what's
For
going to
sure.
go viral or not. Um, Dylan, this is such an interesting thing to talk about, and I really can talk about this for like hours, but we're gonna go towards the end of this episode, and I usually ask my guests a series of 3 questions. Are you ready for
Okay,
it?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. How would your friends describe what you do for a living?
My wife and I were just talking about this. I don't think anybody actually knows what I do. Um, mo- I was a musician for a while, and then I just had a bunch of random jobs. I don't even know how I came in to be at this job. So I think that my friends think that I just sell things online. I don't think they understand it all. I think they just think I
Mm,
log into Amazon and sell things and somehow pay my
okay.
mortgage. I don't think they get it at all.
Well, if it's as easy as that, we'll all do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right. Question number 2. What is one thing that your product did for a client that you didn't expect?
Um, that we didn't expect.
Yeah,
Actually,
like a good thing.
I don't think at all. Everything we've made is so on purpose, formula wise,
Mm,
that our expectations are met. I think the coolest thing is that we are experimenting with now creatine, which is normally a flavorless, amazing product for muscle building and cognitive ability, a bunch of different things. It's getting very, very popular again, which is great. But we started flavoring our creatines just for another experience, and a lot of people have taken to that. We released a sour cherry with one of our athletes, Craig, and it's sold out last week. So
mm.
I
Oh,
think that that's been really cool. Is just
yeah.
experimenting with, hey, this thing's supposed to be flavorless. Let's flavor it, and people love that. So that's been cool.
Mm, that's really interesting. Question number 3. Is there a book that changed your life that you would recommend to our audience?
Oh, guys, I don't read. I read bullet
Okay.
points and I read synopsis. I so like when I hear of a book that comes out that I'm supposed to read that everybody reads, I usually read the synopsis and I take notes on
Mm,
that. And then if there's something interesting in it, I'll go and I'll read a blurb about it of someone else's
okay.
quick take and then
Yeah.
move on. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Let's forget books. Like any podcast or like a quote or something you heard that was like, oh my God, like an aha moment for you.
That is a good question. I recently listened to a podcast. It was a LinkedIn Live, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a podcast featuring a girl named Kate Lamberton. She's a presidential professor of marketing at University of Pennsylvania Wharton School. I have her screenshot here because I wanted to save her information. She was on a
Yeah.
podcast with Gary, and they were talking about the delicate balance of just what is brand equity versus brand performance. And
Mm,
that is something that I constantly love to listen to content about because it's always true, but it's always fluctuating depending on current trends.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think like there's no powerful quote, but that concept, if every
Mm,
marketer daily would think, is this for brand equity or is this for ROAS today? And you make
yeah.
your decisions based on that framework, game
Mm,
changer to strategy,
yeah.
game changer. Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, I love this. It's actually something we all struggle to explain,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think people should. I like this. I'm gonna try to find if there's
I'll email you the link to it
any link.
after.
Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
perfect. So Dylan, tell people where they can find Podium Nutrition and if it's available, like which countries it's available in.
Yeah. So 321podium.com or podiumnutrition.com. It'll automatically forward to
Mm,
321. On Instagram, 321podium as well. Um, enjoy the community. Sign up, join our loyalty program. It's free to join. You don't need to buy anything, but get in, see the content, see what we sell. Our content's really fun, even if you're just going to consume that. And then internationally, we actually are launching our EU store in about 12 days. If I can
mhm.
hit all of my tasks on time,
Yeah.
12 days we'll be launching EU. We're available in Australia. We just launched in the UAE.
Mm.
We're expanding rapidly internationally. So be on the lookout for us everywhere.
That's amazing. We do have some listeners in Europe, so maybe
Cool.
they'll see this, and then if they're interested, they will go and check it out. Perfect. Thank you, Dylan, for being a guest on my podcast, and to all the listeners. I'll be back next week with a new episode.